What is the most NSFW thing you've seen at a party? Dude and lesbian ducking on the kitchen floor. Dude came and lesbian immediately started punching him in the face. Weirdest thing I've ever seen. I just wanted a beer. I walked in on two guys ducking on a bed while a girl masturbated in the corner. That was unique. I went down to a house party in a ratty neighborhood in Chicago many years ago. This was a particularly scummy group of people. There was this junkie chick that was really hard up for some heroin trying to score, but she owed so many people at the party that nobody was willing to hook her up. There was a stray pit bull running around in the alley behind the house that kept trying to follow people into the yard. After a while of listening to her beg, one of the guys offered her a hit if she ducked the dog. She agreed and a few guys wrangled the dog and brought it inside the house. She stripped down in front of everybody and kept trying to get the dog to duck her, but it didn't really understand and so it just wanted to play. After a few minutes of her jerking him off, he finally got the idea and she got the dog to duck her. The dog got really into it and was going nuts and clawing the crap out of her. After a couple minutes, the dog finished and ran off. So this girl was all scratched up and bleeding with dog cum dripping out of her. She didn't even put her pants back on. She just leaned back against the wall and got her kit out of her bag and prepped and shot up on the spot. TLDR, junkie chick ducked a dog to get her fix. A coworker once stood on a swivelly chair. When I was 18, I threw a keg party one weekend when my parents were out of town. A guy came to the party who I didn't know but who was a friend of a friend, so I was cool with it. Let's call him Jake. Jake got absolutely it-faced. So it-faced that he took off all of his clothes, threw up in my parents' hot tub, and then locked himself in the bathroom and passed out. After Jake passed out, he lost control of his bowel movements and shat himself, naked, lying on the floor in the bathroom. We used a coat hanger to open the door and the smell was horrendous. Jake committed so many party fouls that my buddy decided to shave off one of his eyebrows. Since it was my party, I unfortunately had to clean up the mess in both the bathroom and hot tub. I saw Jake about 2 months later at the bar and he covered my tab all night. Friend's mom blowing a bunch of teenagers. At a party with people from school, we're chilling in the host's bedroom with the lights turned off. There's a girl on the bed throwing up everywhere from drinking too much and a guy with her feeling her up and getting in as much makeout time as possible between chunders. My two other friends are dancing in the room with nothing but underpants on and they have a LAN cable running through both their underpants. Host's dad comes home and walks into the room, turns light on. Girl throws up all over the floor and dancing friends keep dancing singing they're connected to the internet. Top night really. Saw a girl getting banged by her boyfriend from the back while she was blowing guys. There was a line to who was getting sucked off next. Myself, my buddy and 7 girls naked in a sauna by a lake. The lake water was warmer than the air so steam rose off it into a moonless sky filled with stars. Pretty surreal. When I was 17-18 I worked as a, wait for it, bar mitzvah bouncer. At any given time during the party, you could lift pretty much any tablecloth in the ballroom and find a 13-year-old girl with a little 12-13-year-old wiener in her mouth. This was my life 2 Saturdays a month my senior year of high school. I tried not to cock block too hard but it was kinda my job. My friend was talking to 2 black guys and wanted to know who had the bigger D, so she blew them both in the kitchen. When I was 20 I was visiting a friend at Chico State. One of the night's girls gone wild was at a party. It was nuts. The best part was when they got 2 girls on the roof of the house, flashing everyone in the backyard. There were spotlights from the GGW crew, cameras everywhere. The crowd is chanting pussy, pussy and the girls drop trow. Then the crowd chants eat that it, and the girls are going down on each other, on the roof, on film, in front of hundreds. Chico State everybody. Didn't see it myself, but at a friend's party this straight guy agreed to get ducked in the ass by a gay dude in front of everyone. The day after he played it off like it was no big deal. Totally owned up to it and wasn't openly bothered by it. Nude twin sisters licking whipped cream off each other's nipples. College party. The house was telling people that there were girls gone wild. A friend of mine hooked up with a girl at a raging party once. They decided to consummate their budding relationship right away, with the only hitch being where this was an older home, and there was a tiny half bath at the top of the stairs, literally the size of an airplane lav. Imagine our surprise when the door bursts open and the two of them, with trousers about the ankles, tumble out and halfway down the steps. He will never live it down. I've made sure of it. Naked Chinese guy did a backflip once in the mosh pit of a dance party. It was pretty intense. I came in here thinking my story of a little person getting gangbanged at my freshman prom party was going to compete. Now I'm leaving to go to church and pray for your methodicas. At a party in white trash part of town, this really skanky but kind of cute probable smack addict chick offering $20 to blow guys. Eventually she got so wasted she passed out in a chair with her mouth open and people started ducking with her. At first it was just the normal arsehole drawing stuff. Then someone took her shirt off. Then they started using her as an ashtray. Then a dude pissed on her. And eventually a few guys jerked off in her mouth. That really ducked me up for a while. Not me, but a friend of mine and most of his high school friends saw a couple on a couch at a big high school party go from kissing to fondling to making out to foreplay to sex to anal to hurting on the couch afterwards. My friend showed me the girl's Facebook with the intro. Yeah, that's the girl that took a crap on the couch at that party after getting ducked in the ass in front of all of us. I was sitting down bored as hell. Then my cousin and her boyfriend sit next to me on the lover seat. She starts giving him a blowjob. I was too drunk to care, and I sat there while they were yeah. Friend hired a prostitute for his day party and she proceeded to bang any guy who wanted it. None of them even knew. They all thought she was some chick who was visiting from Georgia. They still tell the story like she wasn't a prostitute raffle. Guy kicked a cat hard enough to kill it. We were at my buddy's place, gearing up for a rega, when this dude shows up. Apparently he was a friend of a friend or something. I had never seen him before, but someone I knew rolled with him a few times I guess. Anyways, the host's girlfriend had a couple cats. They were indoor-outdoor cats and super friendly. One of the cats decided it liked this dude and wouldn't leave him alone, constantly rubbing against his legs and stuff. The guy would kind of boot the cat out of the way. A few minutes later it'd be right back. A couple hours into the night, I guess he had enough and kicked it across the yard. Killed it on the spot. The girlfriend was standing right there when he did it. She just burst into tears. Everyone gets pissed off. Dude almost gets his ass kicked before running off. Party ducking ended right then and there. I've never seen a party grind to such a halt. We buried the cat, had one last quiet beer, and left. I used to hang out with some real winners. Mostly a bunch of 16-year-olds hanging out with a few 21-year-old burnouts who were willing to buy booze for us. Anyway, the one kid's, let's call him Brad, his mom hosted our debauchery on a regular occasion. She was our trash winners material. One night we were all doing some blow and had about 4 cases of natural light between about 15 of us. Just burning, ya know? Anyway, Brad, myself, and 2 other chaps are sitting in the kitchen playing euchre when Brad's mom walks in, looks at us and promptly places herself under the kitchen table and starts to swallow one of the other chaps' sausage like it's the secret to a long and healthy life. I mean, it is audible to everyone in attendance, especially her son. Brad sat there stone-faced, resigned to the whole experience like it was normal ducking behavior. Some guy took a piss from the balcony right on the host's car. The second he finished, he also puked. This girl was at a party I was at. I had filled my Svedka bottle with water. She took it and chugged. She pretended to get drunk and proceeded to shove a remote up her V in front of everyone. She'd only drank out of that bottle. I was at this one party where a drunk guy got in a fight with one of those easy up tent tarp thingies. He beat the crap out of it for about 20 minutes then kind of collapsed on top. Next thing I know his pants are unzipped and I think he may have been jerking off onto it. Or maybe he was ducking it. I didn't bother to go check. This happened like 2 months ago. Some friends and I took the campers down to Darlington, SC for the Southern 500. We had rented a person's piece of land near the track and was there with like 6 other campers. Combined, we brought over 250 cases of beer, 25 bottles of legal booze, 20 jars of illegal booze, The night before the sprint cup race, we had just come back from the Xfinity run and pulled the trailers in a circle, lit a bonfire, and had the most crazy party I have ever been to. It was a proper redneck jamboree, but one story was so crazy that I will never forget. One of the trailer groups that came was the southern version of the McPoyle brothers. It was like 6 dudes and this chick, not totally ugly, but not that hot either. That was their sister. They were the only ones who didn't put their trailer into the circle. They were pretty nice people and all, just strange. Well, about 2 hours in, they all leave back to the trailer. An hour later, we hear some weird sounds come from their trailer, so a friend and I head over there and peek through the slightly open curtain in the window. It was an incest gangbang. 2 in the back, 1 up front, 2 on the sides and 1 just watching while jacking it. Some time later she hits on a friend of mine who wasn't there to witness it and he slept with her. Disclaimer, I was at this party, and this happened shortly after I left. My friends called me to tell me about it while I was on my way home. A friend of mine was dating this girl for a while, and one night he had a big-ish gathering at his apartment with his roommates and a bunch of friends. The night ended when his girlfriend was bragging that she could probably pick up a bottle off the ground with her V. Nobody thought she was serious until she took her underwear off, lifted her dress up just so, squatted down and lifted the empty bottle off the ground by devouring the neck of the bottle, in front of like 10 of her boyfriend's friends, right after I left. God damn it. Drunk chick puked in the jungle juice bowl and felt really sorry, so she chugged it straight from the bowl. A friend of a friend, girl, was grinding this guy and he jizzed in his pants. The look on his face was priceless. Some chick getting a train run on her at a Halloween party. Spent the night at a part last weekend and I wake up in the middle of the night in between 3 couples having sex all around me and not a single one questioning a thing. I once walked into the kitchen at a house party and found a Royal Marine wanking off the host's dog. I turned around and left that room, comma. A girl using an unopened champagne bottle as a dildo at a 60 party. She was putting on a show for us and riding it when she managed to uncork it. Whoosh. The spray was nothing short of spectacular, and we got a bonus show when her boyfriend had to dig the cork out. In a very dark spot in a local nightclub, relaxing by the tables, were 2 girls and a guy in the middle. The girls were blowing him, taking turns. Awesome. I know a regular at a bar that has a son that is retarded to about the mindset of a 9-year-old. Kid is pretty cool, but his conversation is pretty much rinse and repeat about how great the Patriots or the Red Sox are. The kid is about 23 and has a beer every now and again under his dad's supervision at the bar. If you didn't know him, he would easily be able to pass as a young drunk kid because of his condition. It gets funny one night when he strays from his dad and meets a girl on the patio area while holding his 1 beer for the night. She thinks he is a drunk college kid and proceeds to make out with him, and this most likely being his first sexual experience with a girl, he proceeds to do his best to get laid and pulls out his junk, which is a few steps too far than this girl is willing to go in public, so she starts freaking out at him and so does the crowd. His dad hears the commotion and rushes over to defuse the situation and has to explain to this very pissed girl what she had just gotten herself into. The crowd begins to laugh and the girl is embarrassed to the point of tears. Kid still talks to this day about how his dad cock-blocked him. I was in college. It started out as a relatively low-key party with sci-fi club members till a guy and a girl who weren't actually dating at that point went upstairs so she could try blowing him with pop rocks in her mouth, and 1 or 2 others went up to watch. All I really saw firsthand was her head bobbing through the doorway. My girlfriend and I left at that point, but I'm 80% certain it turned into a sloppy nerd orgy. Went to a friend's house in college for a party. Went to go to the bathroom and I walked in on a 18-year-old high school girl getting railed up the ass but his next door neighbor who was in his 40s. The fire alarm went off and it was at a place with a high ceiling. Someone tried to get on a chair to turn it off, but still couldn't reach it, so they stacked another chair on top of that. Luckily there were no washer people present at that party. At a party my junior year of high school and witnessed the Honors Society president give rounds of knowledge aka blowjobs to 8 dudes. She had the nickname as rounds for the rest of HS. I was at a former friend's house at a party when I was about 14. A guy fell asleep and people started stuffing his ass full of food and baba wipes, and some dude was farting on that guy's face too. That was the time I figured out that falling asleep at parties is not something you want. Girls going down on each other, and when they were finished they ran out breathing on everyone so they can smell it and telling them it was their first time. Full stop. Maybe a little late, but a guy I used to know had an obsession with his testicles. He was always stealing people's phones at parties and taking pics of his sack to put as their screensaver. Also, God forbid anyone pass out or fall asleep because they will end up with this guy's balls on their face. I went to a distant family function and one of the aunts was known as a dumb whore. That's me sugarcoating it. She got so drunk she was puking in the toilet. As I walked by I saw her splashing the puke toilet water on her face like some face wash commercial. Well, to a house with a bunch of people with this chick I met on Tinder. Got uncomfortable because people were yelling at each other, so I snuck out to grab a battery for my ass again, sat in my car. I got a call to come back and so I did, and they seemed to be calming down. Suddenly they start yelling again and everyone started yelling, and one dude ducking stabbed the other in the stomach with a pen. Then everything just got super quiet and everyone immediately did ghetto surgery on him, which involved removing it. I got a text from my ex while I was going swimming that she'd seen me with her and warned me that she was super into spice or something and was known to be a druggie, so that gave some perspective. People began using the carpeted floor in the basement. By the end of the night there was piss and puke all over the floor. I haven't been back to that house, but I can only imagine the stain. Well, in high school I went to a party and I'm told one of my friend's mom tried to shove an inflatable cow up my ass. I say that I was told because I'm pretty sure I drank to forget that night. I once tore the bathroom sink out of the wall at my friend's party while having sex with my girlfriend propped up on it. A foreign exchange student from the UK, pretty sure he's a Scotsman, would pull out his uncircumcised sklong and start stuffing coins in the foreskin like it was a purse. He thought it was impressive and somehow would turn on the ladies. Luckily he usually passed out shortly afterwards and couldn't embarrass himself further, except for the change spilling out of his D as he lay there snoring. That was still weird. Halloween party. I witnessed a girl dresses as a Nazi soldier hike her skirt up and begin riding her boyfriend dresses as a Jew. Sitting directly next to them is an older woman dressed as Glenda the Good Witch. Glenda passes the blunt, lets out a cough, laugh and ever so happily exclaims, "Isn't my daughter crazy?" That same night I walked into a huge gangbang looking for the bathroom. Ace's Halloween parties are the best parties. Was at a college house party once. A girl gave rim jobs to two brothers in the middle of the living room of a packed house at the same time. The house is now called the Rim Job Castle. I was at a party where a girl was ducking a bedpost larger than my fist, and I have some pretty big hands. You can't unsee something like that. Almost submitted before I realized my autocorrect changed that to ducking a therapist. Two girls scissoring with a double-ended dildo. I used to go to these naked bacchanalia type parties in rural Appalachia, so I've seen a lot of firelight playing softly across various decent vulvas. I want all these people to attend a single party. So I'm sitting in this shithole of a house getting drunk in Pensacola, Florida with a few buddies of mine when my best friend gets a call. It's from this local drug dealer that went by the name of Man the Hype Man. He tells my friend that he's on his way over and that he's got a present for him. We hear a knock on the door a few minutes later and the big black Hulk that is Man steps in through the doorway. He points back and tells us the present is outside. We take a look outside and see this 40-50 years old crack whore on all fours squatting down and pissing on the front lawn. So we do what any sane human being would have done and we let her in. So we're sitting around drinking and she's trying to get one of us to duck her, but none of us are having it except for my boy Arthur, who was this crazy wrestler from Alabama. Well, apparently he said something that really upset her because the next thing we see is her sprinting full speed at Arthur. Well, Arthur without thinking grabs her in a bear hug and suplexes the it out of her straight into the shelves behind him. She's immediately unconscious and now she's bleeding all over the carpet from a head wound. Man is yelling and waving a gun around. My best friend is trying to mop up the blood. Arthur is still trying to get with her whilst attempting to stop the bleeding. And I'm just thinking about how our night went from some friends having a few beers to the murder of a crack whore in the living room. Friend of a friend had a party I got invited to. My friend was a Marine and brought along his buddy from the Marines. It was an artist's house who had a huge studio in the garage that was like the length width of this 3-story house. People were talking about tattoos and somehow scarification ended taking control of the conversation. My buddy's friend, other Marine, was saying how he wanted scars on his back like some girl scratched me during sex. Someone saw a ducking wood burning wand thingy, like this but with a bigger sharper looking tip. Dude was like hell's yeah and laid down on a table and had someone put scratch marks on his back. Every time I smell burning hair I'm reminded of the stench that came from his flesh. Edit. I have nothing against Marines. Realized it sounded kinda douchey labeling them. It was an atmosphere of drunk meets art meets meat aura. Some kid basically had a blowjob party where all the dudes sat in a circle, whipped their dicks out, and the chicks all rotated around blowing the dudes. Saw a woman shoot breast milk into another woman's mouth from a distance of 3 feet. Also saw a 4-way about to start as I was leaving the same party. Friend of mine was a belligerent drunk. His girlfriend was the female version of him, equally belligerent. He showed up last to our party all pissed off, yelling he will blow that bitch's head off if she shows up. Sure enough she pulls in 5 minutes after, gets right in her boyfriend's face and starts screaming. My friend walks to his car, pulls out a morsebag and points it in her face. She starts yelling do it do it. She called his bluff. He shoots the ground next to her feet, gets back in his car and speeds off. Of course she promptly follows him. A drunk girl decided the corner pocket on my buddy's pool table was a great place to squat and take a piss. She was thrown out and passed out in the front yard where she stayed all night. I was in high school at a party and a girl a year older than me sat on the dining room table and ducked herself with a beer bottle for the whole party to see. When she was finished she took a guy upstairs and had very loud sex with him and guys lined up outside the door for their turn. She ended up in porn after high school. Edit. Forgot words. A night of tequila 10 years ago now. My gay friend had never tried anything with a girl, and there was a girl who wanted to help him out with that. So we drank some tequila, did some knife hits, and she took him to the bedroom. I was half asleep on a couch. Just about everyone was asleep or gone by then. When my friend came out of the bedroom naked and tried to spoon me, he hopped the back of the couch to get behind me. I pulled away, and he gripped his arms around my chest. He said, "Pretend I have tits. I think I'm going to puke," was my excuse to beeline it to the bathroom. Apparently, he had not able to perform with a woman. He generously went down on her, but was left and satisfied himself, and remained that way. I've seen plenty of sexual stuff at parties, but that's one that involved me directly and was out of left field. We threw an ABC party and this one girl got cream peed on the couch in front of like 10 people. She still doesn't know his name. We had a party apartment when I was in my 20s. Basically the entire building were all friends and we would party every Friday and Saturday and end up heading to Denny's early Sunday mornings for food. This dirty weird chick kept coming to the parties and hanging out all over our host. Now Jay was super chill, loved everyone. He was single and liked girls but not this chick. She would moon all over him and it drove him nuts. So one weekend our buddy Gay Chris was in town. This was his name because we were arseholes and he did gay for pay porn once a month for his job. So Gay Chris asks Jay if he's being booked by dirty girl and Jay says yeah. Gay Chris goes, "I'll get her off your nuts but you gotta buy my Denny's tonight." Gay agrees and Gay Chris just starts wooing this chick. He's got her convinced he's all about her and eventually he takes her outside and pounds her in full view of everyone against the wall of the building. He got moss sticks and a burger that night.